Hi everybody, happy Friday and welcome. I'm Stephanie Taylor. I'm part of the client relations team here at Atlanta Divorce Law Group, and I'm sitting next to managing attorney Jeanette Soltis. And we have a great topic for you today. We're going to talk about stalking. But before we get to our topic, I would be remiss if I did not tell everyone that I am sitting in the presence of an award winner. Jeanette and Sarah both are the recipients of the Super Lawyers Rising Star Award for 2018, which is a really big deal. Actually, I have a prop. Actually, what's so interesting about this award is that only 2.5% of all of the attorneys in Georgia are recognized for this award. So we have two of those superstars right here in our office, and congratulations.
Thank you.
We're super proud of you, and it's well
Thank you.
deserved. So nice to know. So today we're going to be talking about stalking, which is kind of a crazy topic because it sounds like something that you would read about in a celebrity tabloid magazine. But believe it or not, sometimes within the divorce process, people do tend to stalk each other. So first, just tell us what the definition of stalking is and what it looks like.
Okay, stalking is defined by statute, and the statute defines it as following, surveillance, or contact without consent for the purpose of harassment and intimidation. The contact can be in person, through mail, email, text messages, leaving things on the front porch. Contact can be a lot of different things, but the focus of it needs to be it's repeated, so it's not a one-time thing. It's something that happens repeatedly. It's unwanted, and it also causes fear. So if it's an annoyance, if your ex is just being annoying and sending repeated texts, that's not stalking. It has to be contact that's done in a way that really makes you scared and fearful.
Okay, so that's the key factor, is
Yeah.
that you have to be fearful.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure you've seen a lot of these situations over the years, so tell me some of the situations and examples and some of the cases that you've seen.
I have seen this a lot, and not just in divorce cases. I've seen it in a lot of cases with previous partners, so legitimations. Also, I've had clients come to me who I represented them in a divorce, but they had a new relationship and that fell apart, and now they're being stalked. Often it's threats through emails and repeated emails, text messages, sending flowers at work, but constant and unwanted, following you home in a car and then sitting outside the house and watching what's going on. I had one situation that was pretty scary, and we got a TPO for the client. The other party, who was an ex-partner, had been taking video recordings without my client's knowledge, and then later used those videos to scare and harass her. He would text clips of the videos, and these are videos from inside the home.
That's creepy.
Yeah, so these were videos that she wouldn't want her parents to see, or private times inside the home. And he would then text her clips of these videos. He would mail her a DVD with clips of these videos on it.
Wow.
Would drive by the house and say, I'm driving by, and text her through a text. So that's kind of some classic stalking behavior, is just you're receiving contact, but it's in a way that's just scary and creepy.
And unsettling.
And unsettling. You just don't feel safe.
Right. So how does this affect children? I know a lot of times parents will use the child to stalk the other parent. I know that I've experienced that, going through my divorce, where my son was, set up to film me or to catch me doing any little thing that might have been construed as wrong.
Yeah. Getting children involved in any of these adult relationships is always harmful. Now, whether or not that would rise to the level of stalking, it actually might be a different issue, more like inappropriate surveillance within someone's home, because that might be used to more information gather. Now, if those videos are later used to text and scare and harass the person, then that can be considered stalking. But as far as how kids are affected, anytime children are exposed to conflict between adults who they care about, it's very harmful to them.
Right. Pitting one parent against
So,
another.
Even if you're the person being stalked, don't talk about it to your kids. You're the adult, deal with it through the courts, the attorneys, in the adult ways to deal with it, but you don't need to discuss it with the kids.
Great advice. So what do people do if they think they're being stalked?
Okay.
What's the next step?
So if somebody is stalking you, the most important thing is you need to document. So every text message, every phone call, take a screenshot, keep your call logs, maybe even start recording the calls. So document everything. The next thing that you want to do is you need to make it really clear to the person who's stalking that this is unwanted. For a couple of reasons. One is to try to get them to stop.
Right.
But the other reason is if you end up having to go to court, you have to be able to prove that this was unwanted and it scared you. So one thing that's helpful is to put it in writing to the stalker and say, you contacted me these times, I saw you sitting outside my house, kind of explain the behavior, and then say, I really don't want contact with you. It makes me scared and uncomfortable. Please stop. If it happens again, I'll have no choice but to get a stalking protective order.
Great.
And then you send that to the person in writing. You've documented it, and you've made it really clear to that person that you're uncomfortable and you're going to take action if they don't knock it off.
Right.
Some other things that are important to do is if you don't want to do anything that can contribute to that behavior. Not that it's the victim's fault, but if you're able to block an email address, block it. If you're able to block a phone number, block it. Something else is don't knowingly put yourself in a situation that could continue that drama. So if somebody is stalking you, don't go over to their house to try to have a conversation with them.
Right.
I've actually had those types of situations make it so a person's unable to get a stalking protective order because you go in front of a judge and a judge is like, well, why did you go over there? If you were really scared, because that's a key component. And that's a key component to this is you have to be fearful. So if somebody's sending all these text messages and you're really fearful, are you going to go over to their house and try to have a conversation with them? And maybe you would, but it's a situation where the judge has to find this credible that you're actually fearful.
Sure.
So, don't put yourself in that situation. Now, if you've made it clear that you don't want this communication and you've done everything you can to stop the communication, then the next step is to go to court and get a stalking protective order.
Okay, and what does that accomplish?
So a stalking protective order is typically a 12-month order, and it spells out that this person who has been stalking you is not to have any type of contact or communication. It will say that they can't use family members to contact you. It could say they can't contact your family members. And it will also have a number of feet that the person needs to stay away from you, your workplace, and your home. Or if you're in school, from your school. So basically it's an order saying that this person needs to stay away and leave you alone. If that's violated, then it can become aggravated stalking, which is a criminal offense.
So do you need an attorney to be able to get this?
That's a really good question. The courts make it, and this is for both a stalking protective order and also a family violence protective order. So if somebody is being physically abused, it's the same process. Courts try to make it as easy as possible for a victim to get help, even if they're not able to retain an attorney. If you have the time and the resources to have a consultation, it can be a good thing. But if you feel like you need to quickly get this in place, or you just can't afford an attorney, you can go straight to the court. Now, each county is different as far as their particular process. For example, in Cobb County, there's a TPO office. TPO is Temporary Protective Order. So if you are seeking a stalking or family violence TPO, you can just show up at the TPO office during court hours, and they have people there on staff who will sit down with you, ask you to tell your story, and they fill out the petition.
Right.
And then they walk the petition to the judge. What happens is, if the judge thinks that there's probable cause that there has been stalking, they will issue a 30-day protective order. And it's called an ex parte order, meaning the other party doesn't even have to be there. You just tell the judge what happened, and if it's stalking, if the judge believes that they're stalking, you'll get the 30-day order. That is then served on the other party, and it goes into effect, and you're given another court date. So this next court date, sometimes it's as soon as 1 or 2 weeks away, but it could be up to 30 days away. Mm-hmm. At that next court date, if you can find a way to hire an attorney, you really need to. Because then at this next date, it is a full-blown hearing where the rules of evidence apply. You need to be able to know what evidence and pictures you can use, mm-hmm. and know how to question the other party and tell your story. It's possible to do it on your own, but if you can afford an attorney, it's mm-hmm. best to have one.
So during the divorce process, if one of the parties is acting as a stalker, how is that going to hurt their settlement? Is it going to change the way the judge views this person and how they've behaved?
It could have the judge question their mental stability, mm-hmm. and one thing that you can ask for, really in both the divorce process and the TPO process, is a psychological evaluation. Mm-hmm. But if somebody is behaving in a way that just seems unstable and unreasonable, especially if there are kids involved, right. A judge in the divorce case or in the family or stalking case might want a psychological evaluation and might want that person to get some help. It won't affect splitting up assets, but it could certainly affect custody.
Yeah, so it's a bad idea.
Yes.
Okay, good. I think that's good. I think that was some great information. Hopefully we don't have to have any clients that we have to worry about having stalking issues at this point. So please make sure that you like and follow our page so that you don't miss any of our broadcasts. We do this pretty much every Friday and always have great information. In fact, a lot of the topics that we talk about are things that our current clients are dealing with, or questions that we get on a daily basis from people who call us looking for help. Next week, we will be joined by family therapist Kathleen Shack to discuss something called discernment counseling, which I'm sure
really excited about this.
Me too.
We brought this up, and we had a Facebook Live that was on how to decide if you want to divorce. Yes. And I had just heard the term discernment counseling, and basically it's therapy to it's therapy jointly with your spouse to decide right. if you should get divorced. Right. So I'm pretty fascinated by that.
Because there's some boxes to check off, and there's some formulas to apparently help you make that decision. So what a great resource that will be. So join us. That'll be next Friday at 10 a.m. like I said, with family therapist Kathleen Shack. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching. Have a great Friday.